Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jasodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Jasodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hello. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jai oh Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Haribol, 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 Gaur Haribol, Nitai. Gaur Premanande, Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivachakacharya Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Swami Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki Jai, Śrīmad Prabhupada ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki Jai, Prem se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki Jai. Grantara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki Jai. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Glories to Sri Guru Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Today we are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, and Text 32. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Naishamatistav urukramangrim. Naishamatistav urukramagrim. Sprati sprisati anartya pagamoyad artha. Sorry, I didn't have the proper, just follow. Maya sampadarajo vishekam. Maya sampadarajo vishekam. Nishkinchananam na vrinita yavat. Niskinchananam na vrinita yavat. Naishamatistav urukramagrim. Sprastya spryatsyatyanyartha pagamoyad artha. Mahiyasam pado rajo vishekam. Nishkanchananam na vrinita yavat. Urukramagrim. You want to try? Okay. Na, not. Esham, of these. Matihi, the consciousness. Tavat, that long. Urukrama Angrim, the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is famous for performing uncommon activities. Sprishati, does touch. Anartha, of unwanted things. Apagamaha, the disappearance. Yat, of which. Arthaha, the purpose. Mahiyasham, of the great souls, the Mahatmas or devotees. Padaraja, by the dust of the lotus feet. Abhishekam, consecration. Niskrit Anchanam, of devotees who have nothing to do with this material world. Na, not. Vrinita, may accept. Yavat, as long as. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, completely free from material contaminations, persons very much inclined towards materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified for His uncommon activities. Only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, in this way can one be freed from material contamination. Purport. Sorry, I had to blow it away. Becoming Krishna conscious brings about anartha apagamaha, the disappearance of all anarthas, the miserable conditions we have unnecessarily accepted. The material body is the basic principle of these unwanted, miserable conditions. The entire Vedic civilization is meant to relieve one from these unwanted miseries. But persons bound by the laws of nature do not know the destination of life. As described in the previous verse, Ishat Tantyam Urudamni Baddaha, they are conditioned by the three strong modes of material nature. The education that keeps the conditioned soul bound life after life is called materialistic education. Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur has explained that materialistic education expands the influence of Maya. Such an education induces the conditioned soul to be increasingly attracted to materialistic life and to stray further and further away from liberation from unwanted miseries. One may ask, why highly educated persons do not take to Krishna consciousness? The reason is explained in this verse. Unless one take shelter of a bona fide, fully Krishna conscious spiritual master, there is no chance of understanding Krishna. The educators, scholars, and big politicians, political leaders, worshipped by millions of people, cannot understand the goal of life and take to Krishna consciousness, for they have not accepted a bona fide spiritual master and the Vedas. Therefore, in the Mundaka Upanishad 3.2.3, it is said, Nayam Atma Pravachana Nena Labhyo Na Medhaya Na Bahu Na Shrutena. One cannot become self-realized simply by having an academic education, by presenting lectures in an erudic way, pravachanena labhya, or by being an intelligent scientist who discover many wonderful things. One cannot understand Krishna unless one is graced by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only one who has surrendered to a pure devotee of Krishna and taken the dust of his lotus feet can understand Krishna. First, one must understand how to get out of these clutches of Maya. The only means is to become Krishna conscious. And to become Krishna conscious very easily, one must take shelter of a realized soul, a Mahat or Mahatma, whose only interest is to engage in the service of the Supreme Lord. As Lord has says in Bhagavad Gita 9:13, Mahatmanastu mam parthya daivim prakritim asritaha vajantyanyanya manasho gyatva bhutam avvayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Therefore, to end the unwanted miseries of life, one must become a devotee. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavat akinchana sarvaya gunas tatra samasrate shuraha. One who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna consistently manifests all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods. That's from Bhagavatam 5:18-12. Yascha deve para bhakti yatha deve tata guru tasyaita katita hyarta prakashante mahatmanaha. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. Shatasatara Upanishad 6:23. Jam evasya vrinute tena labhyas tasaivat atma vrinute tanum swam. The Lord is obtained only by one whom he himself chooses. To such a person, he manifests his own form. That's from Mundaka Upanishad 3:2-3. There are Vedic injunctions. One must take shelter of a self-realized spiritual master, not a materially educated scholar or a politician. One must take shelter of a Nishkinchanana, a person engaged in devotional service and free from material contamination. That is the way to return home back to Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada here have quoted so many verses from the scriptures, proving that the only way to get the mercy of Krishna, the only way to go back to Godhead, to Krishna, Vaikuntha, the spiritual world, is to fully surrender and takes the dust of the feet of the Vaishnavas. Take the dust of the feet of your spiritual master. And fully engage in devotional service. It's very easy for us to understand this purport. Because this is what we are doing. This is what we are meant to be doing. And this is why we are here in this Hare Krishna movement. That is the sole purpose of our human life and our existence, is to serve Krishna, is to go back to Godhead, is to be immersed in the loving service to the lotus feet of Krishna and of Srila Prabhupada, of our spiritual master. That is the purpose. If we do not understand this simple point, like it says here, we are astray or we get carried away to another thing. The material nature, the Krishna's material energy. Maya Shakti. Material energy is also Krishna's energy. It's all Krishna's. Everything belongs to Krishna. Maya Dakshina Prakriti, this Maya, the material energy, this material world that we are living in, that dealing with, it's also Krishna's energy. It's all Krishna's. So therefore, if we can be Krishna conscious when you understand this all Krishna's, But that comes from surrendering to Krishna. The only way, it says here, the Lord is obtained only by one whom He Himself chooses. To such a person, He manifests His own form. Jamayavasya vinute tena labhyas. Labhyas means to obtain. Everybody wants to attain something, to get something. Isn't it? This is why we're here. We go to school, we go to university to get a degree. Prabhupada here very nicely explained. That is material education. You go to school, why? So you're not a dumb person, you can get a job, you can support your family, you can pay off your mortgages, because then you can have money coming in. This is all material education. So Prahlad Maharaj, here, he's explaining. Prahlad Maharaj was sent to school where he had to learn materialistic education, how to become a materialistic person. But Prahlad Maharaj, he was aloof. He knew that is not the purpose of human life. The purpose of human life is to be free from the entanglement of Maya, the material energy that we're entangled in, life after life. And we're struggling hard to live a life of this material existence, to live here. For somehow we're working so hard to live here even though it's so difficult. It's like where people are coming to Australia. It's getting harder and harder. You have to pay so much money to get your PR. And finally, you get your PR and then you live here. It's not easy life. You have to work, pay for everything. So much struggle is there. But still, people don't give up. They're clinging on to sense enjoyment. So if you want to be free from this suffering, Prabhupada is saying time and time again in this purport, miseries of life. This life is miserable. Then you have to smear yourself, like it says in this verse, in the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. Dust. Krishna's feet is not dust. There is no dust because it's so clean. We wash the deities every day with charanamrita. We have the charanamrita we drink. With milk, yogurt, honey, sugar water, fruit juices. And we drink that. Every day we drink that. That's not ordinary water. It has to be washed, this lotus feet of Krishna, the body of Krishna, with all these ingredients. And we drink a little bit of that. That purifies our heart. The way to purify consciousness, purify heart. Cheta darpanam marjanam. It's mentioned here. Darpana, cheta darpana, to cleanse the heart and the consciousness, is to put Krishna Prasadam there, is to put Charanamrita there, is to put the dust of the feet of Krishna, to roll in the dust of Krishna's body in Vrindavan. This temple room is full of dust of the feet of the Vaishnavas. You can roll in the ground. Pay obeisances, roll in the ground. That's why I've seen devotees in Vrindavan, they used to roll their body in the dust. And I used to think how dirty it is. Full of cow dung. And I know a friend of mine, every time he went to India, he would bring back cow dung. It's strictly forbidden to bring any animal products. But he had it on his shoe. They didn't check his shoe. He purposely stepped on cow dung at Vrindavan, and when he came back, he had cow dung on his shoe. And we take a little bit touch, and then roll in the ground, he had dust on his clothes. It requires humility. Some people, they come to the temple, they don't want to take the shoe off because it's not clean. You want to keep your shoes on. This is to respect. Take your shoes off. Take your hat off. And pay obeisances to the feet of Krishna, foot to the devotees. It is mentioned like a tree falling, boom, like a banana tree falling on the ground at the feet of Krishna. The Goswamis in Vrindavan, they put stick in their mouth. Stick, little small stick, and they pay obeisance. It's to show that I'm just insignificant, like an ant. So it says here, unless one is a devotee of the Lord, one cannot understand the existence of the spiritual world. Gurus, teachers who are simply interested in this material world are described in this verse as anatha, blind. Such blind men may lead many other blind followers without true knowledge of material condition. But they are not accepted by devotees like Prahlad Maharaj. Because Prahlad Maharaj knows the truth. Satyam param dhimahi. The first verse of the Bhagavatam, it says that Satya, the truth, the ultimate truth. Everyone talks about truth. The real truth, Satyam, Param, the ultimate truth is Param, is to know the Supreme God, the Supreme Lord. Satyam Param Dhimahi. And to that I pay my respectful obeisances. This is the Gayatri mantra. Dhimahi, we sing, Dhimahi. This is a very simple thing. That Bahir Artha Maninaha. The word Bahi means external. Artha means interest. And Manina means taking very seriously. Generally speaking, practically everyone is unaware of the spiritual world. And Srila Prabhupada actually writes in every canto of the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, right in the introduction of the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada says, 99% the population are not interested in God. How many times do you have to go out, distribute books? There's still people buying books, but they haven't read. And we can still distribute books, millions and millions of books we can distribute, because there are so many people who are not interested that they are available, that we can give them these books. And every time people are taking birth, living entities. But people are not interested in God. No interest. Artha means interest. So the knowledge of the materialistics is restricted within the 4 billion mile limit of this material world, which is in the dark portion of the creation. They do not know that beyond the material world is the spiritual world. That's why Krishna says, aparayam mitastanyam. There's another world. There's another world where there is no sun or moon or electricity. Atmaram, everyone is fully satisfied. Another world. Unless one is a devotee of the Lord, one cannot understand the existence of the spiritual world. This is why you have to have the blessing of a devotee. You have to have the mercy of a Vaishnava. You have to have the mercy of the representative of Krishna. It is not that you can demand to see God. You have to have the qualification. You have to have the blessing. Tad vidhi panipatena pariprasnena sevaya. You have to do service, sevaya. In the beginning, when I first joined the Hare Krishna movement, and I thought seva means to just take prasadam. And some people say, eating your way back to Godhead. Of course, you can. Take prasadam and go back to Godhead. Then we need people to cook. We need people to do puja. We need people to do sweeping, cleaning, so many things. That is also there, not just eating your way back to Godhead. If I didn't cook, then there will be no food. So everything is there in the spiritual world. Everything is provided by our Guru Maharaj to attain that liberation, to attain that labhya, it's mentioned here, this word labhya, to obtain the lotus feet of Krishna. It's very easy, actually. Gurus, teachers, sometimes the teachers, like it's mentioned here, Sanda, Amarka, they were the two teachers of Hiranyakashipu. They're teaching materialistic science, material knowledge. So Prabhupada says here, right in the beginning of this, that ordinary Hiranyakashipu was extremely angry and wanted to rebuke his sons for deriving his teachers for his spiritual master, who had been born in the Brahman family for the Acharya, Acharya. So he's mentioned here that material education, spiritual masters have accepted everywhere since time immemorial. But Prahlad Maharaj declined to accept such seminal gurus or to take instruction from him. Because such gurus, they were materialistic teachers. So we have the Vaishnavas, the spiritual master who teaches us how to attain the love for Krishna. It's very easy, very simple, is that the point here Prabhupada mentioned is that we have to surrender. It is not easy we can talk about surrender, but actually, when we want to surrender, there's a lot of things that we need to surrender. Our mind, our consciousness, our desires, a lot of things. Not just, I surrender, yes. In the beginning it all looks good, but the test comes, it becomes difficult. First thing you have to do when you get up in the morning, you have to get up. First thing you have to get up. Right? Then the day starts. If you can get out of bed, then everything will go smoothly. Then this thing happened, that thing happened. I was thinking, like yesterday, I had to get up today, come all the way from home. I live quite far away, and it's so cold here in Melbourne. And I have a few Gurukul friends that came on the weekend, and they were telling me, what are you doing here in Melbourne? It's so cold. Come to Queensland. And I was thinking, let me think about it. I'm not going to do it. We go where there's service to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada didn't go to America to have a good time. And when he first woke up in New York and he saw all the buildings are white, he said, wow, all the buildings are painted white. They all snow, so cold. He never saw snow before. So it's certainly very uncomfortable to go to a place like that coming from Vrindavan or in India where the weather is so hot. And it's like walking into a cold refrigerator. And I cook in the kitchen. On a very hot day, I love it, go in the cool room and stay there. But when it's a winter time, you just want to get out of in a cool room. You want to go to a warm place. Prabhupada went to America, the weather it's totally uncomfortable. So he didn't go there to just, he went to preach Krishna consciousness. So I told them, we go where there is service, not looking for pleasures. This is not the place to find pleasure here. This is a mature world, everything is miserable, like mentioned here. Full of misery here. Here. Such an education, Prahlad Maharaj is talking about education induces the conditioned soul to be increasingly attracted to materialistic life and to stray further and further away from liberation from unwanted miseries. So materialistic life simply entangles us. You know about the quicksand. You know quicksand? You get stuck in the quicksand, you try to get out, you get more and more bogged down. So material life is like a quicksand. You just go down and down. you get more stuck. It takes us more away from Krishna. So, material life, that's why the devotees have to be so careful. Family life is not an easy life. Family life, you have so much entanglement. You have to pay for your home, pay for children's education. There's a lot of headache, a lot of responsibilities. Human life is for responsibilities, but not only for material responsibilities. Of course, we're not bums. We have to have responsibility, not living in the roadside and begging and stuff. If you have family, you have to take care of everyone. You have to have a warm place. And you pay for all these things. So there is responsibility, material responsibilities, to take care of yourself, to be clean, to have proper clothing, a place to live. These are all material responsibilities. But the real responsibility on top of material responsibilities is your responsibility to become Krishna conscious. But if that's only going to happen if you know Krishna, if you believe in Krishna. So first you have to introduce Krishna consciousness, that there God exists. If you don't have that basic understanding, you will simply know the material life is everything. It's ultimate. If you don't have God consciousness, then you only have material enjoyment, material life, and you work hard to maintain a material life. But we are seeing today, the whole material world, the whole world, there's so much misery, so much struggle, despite the so-called material advancement. The material advancement in this world is not everything, is not fulfilling. You see, I'm wearing so much clothes. This jacket, another jacket, t-shirt. And you take all the clothes, a big pile of clothes like this. You can open a shop just to cover the skin. That's all. I was just coming, just here, rushing to get to the temple, and there was a truck there. And I had to go around the truck because it's a septic truck. They're cleaning all the stuff, the toilet thing. It smells so bad, I tell you. From down the road you can smell it. Septic truck. You know, they clean all the stuff comes out of your body from the tank. So I was thinking the material world is the epidemic of the result of our enjoyment is the smell, like the toilet. Yeah, really. It put in front of you looking so palatable. It looks so nice and decorated. But the reality is something else. You eat nice food, but when it's out of your body, something else. So the material enjoyment, it's very superficially, it all looks good in front of you. That is called Maya. It's very palatable, presented to you. It looks so decorated. But the reality is something else. Underneath what you see is that smell that's coming out. I'm telling this myself. To really understand God consciousness, to really surrender, you really deeply have to understand and to really take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. You have to cling onto the feet of Krishna, cling onto the lotus feet of Prabhupada, cling onto the lotus feet of your spiritual master and the Vaishnavas, to cling so hard. Prabhupada said, like a child, he's taken shelter of the mother and father. For the child, there is no other things except them. Because the child only knows the parents is everything. So similarly, we have to take shelter of Krishna, take shelter of our Guru Maharaj, as our only shelter. That's why it says here, Jasya deve para bhakti, yata deve tata guru. Tata guru. Guru means guru. Tasya te kadita hyarta prakashante mahatmana. And Prabhupada explains mahatmana in this verse. Here, right here. The only means to become Krishna conscious, and to become Krishna conscious very easily, one must take shelter of a realized soul. A mahat. In this verse, this word is mahat. A mahatma whose only interest is to engage in the service of the Supreme Lord. That's mahatma. People describe mahatma in a different way. If you're an English teacher at the university or a philosopher, we don't call them mahatma, isn't it? But if you're chanting Hare Krishna, if you're preaching the glories of Krishna consciousness, then he's a mahatma, like Prabhupada. Mahatmanastu mam partha devi prakriti matmana bhajantanyana manasho gyatta bhuta dima vayam. Yes, O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, original and inexhaustible. That's Mahatma. They are fully engaged in devotional service. Fully. Like I had 2 days off, like Saturday, Sunday. I was thinking, where is this guy? Oh, how come he's not here? I was usually Saturday, Sunday, when I'm not here, I have this many programs. This house, that house, every day. So I told everybody, this weekend I'm not doing anything. So, how long can you sit in your home? Half an hour later, like, what am I doing here? You get so damn bored. You want to get out, go for a walk, drive somewhere to the some supermarket. In Australia, there is nothing you can do. It's so boring, this country. I'm sorry to say it. Really. If you go home, it's nobody around. Nobody around. Nice house, very nice suburb, nobody around. They're all at the supermarket, in the shopping center, packed with people. Because that's all there is. You go to India, everywhere in the street, temples full of people. There's no supermarket, but people are really, they're not in the home, but they're in the street, there are kids playing in the street. There's so much lively feeling. You don't feel that lively. It's actually quite boring here. You have money, you don't know where to spend. So they go and buy stuff from the supermarket. You go to India, you can go to the bazaar, and this bazaar, that bazaar, and temples. You can, there's just lots happening. So much variety. And if you go to the supermarket, how many days can you go? It's so frustrating. But when you come to the temple, we don't have that much here either. But there's something that triggers us within the consciousness. Something that gives us the bliss. That is Krishna. This is Krishna's place. Here is not that much going on, actually. We are not selling shoes and we're not selling big supermarket stuff everywhere. This is the temple atmosphere where you come here and it's full of life here, full of life. And people come and sit here, Shanti. Shanti means very peaceful. They feel fantastic. They're not roaming around everywhere, looking at this, looking at that. There's nothing there. They come back with nothing. They buy a small thing instead of buying so much. They're fed up. And then they come to temple. And that's what Krishna says. All these things are simply to lead you to frustration, material things. And Prabhupada here, that's why time and time is sake. And this verse here says, Niskinchana, a person engaged in devotional service, free from material contamination. That's Niskinchana. We have to become like a Niskinchana. Heart full of Krishna consciousness. You open your heart, then the heart, we can see in your heart is Sudha, is pure, no other desires. Just yesterday, I dream a lot about a kirtan and stuff. And just a few days ago, when I was here a few days ago, and I was in the temple, and usually devotees dream of devotees, other devotees. It's not your dream of something else. So I had this dream yesterday, and I was crossing this mountain, and everywhere there's devotees, and so I wanted to go to the Hare Krishna temple. And these people, they said you have to cross this mountain, go down the hill, and up the hill, and there's a village there, small town, there's a temple there, ISKCON temple. And so I came down the hill. It was like I'm not kidding, it's like the whole area, it looked like a painting. You know, like mountains, very beautiful, looking down. So they said, you go through all these hills, and climb up the hill, on top there's a small town, there's a temple. And so then I was like amazed to see. So I asked them, can you take a photo of me with all this area behind me? I guess it's modern day because they had camera. And then I went down, climb up, I came to a small town. I said to this person, he's a Westerner, and he had a chadar and a jeans. He said, hey, the temple is here, but before that I want to show you my place. I said, okay. So he took me to a place, and his home is, he's renovating, and it's all this lake, so beautiful. And so then he said, okay, come down, I'll show you the temple. So he said, go down the street, there's a temple there, Hare Krishna temple. And I couldn't find it. So on the way, I asked some old ladies, they were cleaning their home, and they came out, oh, Hare Krishna temple right there, they're really good people, like this. I said, oh yeah, they must be, because when people talk like that, temple must be very near, because they're hearing us and glorifying the devotees. Not like these people here, but this somewhere else. And I walked down, I saw the devotee coming out. So the temple's right on the street. So you open a door, it's a street, like here. But it's so devotee came out and went in. So I walked in, and full of brahmacharis. You know, really full of brahmacharis, whole temple's full of brahmacharis. They all just talking, having prasadam, a lot of fun. And I walked in, I said, wow, this is spiritual world. You know, this is what they do. They were taking prasadam, they're joking and all sitting around. So I walked in and said, who are you? He said, oh, you'll know soon. And then I walked to the back, and it was a very sunny day. And so I woke up, and actually they said, this is Dublin in Europe, temple. It didn't look like Dublin. So my point is, this dream was so amazing. I woke up, I had tears in my eyes. Yeah, it was so very emotional. I felt like I want to be with the devotees. And they were not doing anything. They were just sitting around, taking prasadam. And this is what they do. The devotees in the spiritual world, that's what they do. It's not that they're going to work and stuff. They're enjoying all day with Krishna. You see, when we all sit down to take prasadam, this is what Krishna do in the spiritual world. Some of the best time when we get together and sit down to take prasadam, isn't it? And no one is actually eating much. They're all talking. It's like some of the stuff we talk that we don't even usually talk. Prasadam time we are. So it's not just taking prasadam. It's a gathering to come together and creating a spiritual bond. And Krishna himself in the spiritual world, they have the food in their gamshas, they're carrying it, they go into the